Hello, welcome to Revenant Reads. I'm Vin, and this is an announcement video for Historathon 2025. So, Historathon is a year-long reading event where we read, discuss, and celebrate nonfiction history. This is actually the third year that it will be going. I originally created the event because I wanted to organize my own nonfiction history reading. You can see this whole bookshelf behind me is just nonfiction history. And I came up with the idea to split the year up into 4 quarters, each quarter looking at a different time period. And I ran that idea across some booktube friends of mine, and they were kind enough to come along with me, and many of them have been my co-hosts ever since, and we've added some more co-hosts over time. And yeah, this has been a pretty fun, I think pretty successful overall booktube event. So what the essential is, if you wanted to participate, you would just really need to read some nonfiction history. If you wanted to fully participate, you would read it 4 times a year. So let me explain. We divide the year up into 4 quarters, each quarter being 3 months long, and each quarter looking at a different time period. So the first quarter, which is January through March, we look at prehistory up until around the year 500 CE or AD, whichever one you prefer. So really, at least in Western history, that's like the classics, right? Classical age, or you can look at, again, prehistory if you want to go back to like Neanderthals, that's fine. We're not too picky over these sorts of things. Let me make it clear, nobody's gonna be looking over your shoulder seeing what you're reading. This is meant to be tailor-made towards your interests. But essentially, if you read a nonfiction history piece that deals with that era, you are good. You have covered that quarter. The following quarter is April to June, and that's where we look at the years 500 to 1500. So again, in Western history, we're talking especially the Middle Ages. So if you read a history book dealing with that era, you have covered it. And I should also say that, you know, history itself is not so cut and dry or divided into these time periods. So you might read a history book that maybe, you know, a third of it deals with the ancient world. Yeah, count that as the ancient world. Or maybe a third of it deals with, you know, the other third of it deals with the Middle Ages. Maybe you want to count it for the Middle Ages. Really, it's up to you. Again, we're not really going to be too picky as far as what you choose. The idea is to have fun with this. And the idea is also to get people who have not really tried nonfiction history to give it a try. So moving on, the third quarter, which is July to September, we look at the years 1500 to 1820. The year 1820 sounds like a weird cutoff, but there's more or less booktube reasons for why we have that date. It essentially allows the event to piggyback off of other popular events that are on booktube, such as Jane Austen July. So usually one of the prompts for Jane Austen July is to read a book about the Regency era. So if you were to read something for that, you would actually be covered in July during that time for quarter 3. Likewise, for Victober, another popular booktube event where people read things about the Victorian era, you know, that would fall very neatly into quarter 4. So getting into quarter 4 goes from October to December, and that's where we look at the years 1820 to the present day. So there's lots and lots of history to explore during that time. If you are into military history, social history, women's history, you know, maybe types of material history, maybe you want to look into the history of fashion, whatever it is, whatever you're interested in. If it's nonfiction history, it counts. And you could even really, you know, put a lot of biographies and things like that into that realm as well. But yeah, that's the essential. So if you were to read a book for each quarter, and I'll have all the information for this down in the description of the video, so you can check it out and take a look. If you read a book for each quarter, you have completed the Historathon challenge. We also do have what are called side quests. These are not mandatory at all. These are totally personalized, but they're essentially just other ways to explore history. So maybe it's historical films or music or recipes, whatever it might be, right? We call those side quests. And we have a Discord server that we invite you to join. There's lots of great people on there. They're always offering recommendations. We have a lot of people who are very knowledgeable about different periods of history that can offer a lot of, again, great books to read, great recommendations. But one of the channels that we have within the Discord is for side quests. So if you were to travel to a historical place, go to a museum, you can share your pictures there, you can share your experience there. And we always love seeing those sorts of things. But we are going to be using the hashtag Historathon 2025 in order to try and organize all the different content and videos that people are making. If I post things on Instagram as well, which I don't use it frequently, but I do use it sometimes, I'll also put that tag in there as well. So if you wanted to follow along with Historathon 2025 on Instagram, that's totally possible. If you are seeing this video already having 2025 started, like maybe you're watching this in April, yes, you can still join. It is never too late to join. Just kind of jump into whatever quarter we're in and then just keep on going with us. But we definitely encourage you to reach out to us, meaning me and my co-hosts, either through YouTube or through our Discord server. So my co-hosts, let me talk about them. We've got Gareth from Book Songs and Other Magic, Mark from Book Time with Elvis, Bill from Bill Rutenberg, Debs from Rainer Read Stuff. We've got John David with, I think his channel is called John David, but it's also Nicholas Avatricore, I think. I might be saying that wrong. We've got Peg from the History Shelf, and somebody who has joined us just in the last few months, who just makes great historical content, is Justin at Triumphal Reads. So all of these co-hosts will be very happy to help you out, to offer recommendations, and to help guide you. And that's it. Yeah, so we do hope that you can join us. We love history, all of us co-hosts, all the people inside the Discord server. I think that history, nonfiction history, does not get spoken of nearly enough on BookTube, and that's one of the reasons for this event. All right, so we want to encourage people to give it a try if they haven't given it a try, to give nonfiction history really the respect that it deserves. Obviously, you look behind me, there's a lot of books being published every year on nonfiction history, but again, we don't hear enough about them. We don't hear the conversations on YouTube, especially BookTube, nearly enough. So that's what this is all about, getting people engaging with history, learning from history. You can read academic history if you want. If you want to go to a university press, if you like lots of footnotes and extensive bibliographies, or you can go to popular history. Doesn't really matter. We're not here to judge you for that, as long as it's nonfiction, and try to be discerning, try to make sure it's good history as far as truth goes. But otherwise, we don't really have much to criticize in what people choose to read. But yeah, so please, once again, if you want to join us, we'd love to have you. And as always, thank you, BookTube.